My name is Patrick Condon, and I'm a professor at the University of British Columbia in the School of Architecture and Landscape Architecture. The book is called 5 Rules for Tomorrow's Cities, and its focus is on 3 great waves that are changing cities across the globe. The first great wave is the global migration from rural areas to cities. This is causing out-of-control urban growth and the abandonment of rural towns and villages. The second of these great waves is the collapse of birth rates in much of the world. This foretells a shrinking of national populations eventually, even while major cities expand. For example, total population is already shrinking in Italy and Japan, leaving empty villages. The US and Canada could certainly be next. Third, and adding even more disruption, is the ongoing decline of the middle class, which is fueled by ever-growing inequality. The question for us is it possible to turn these changes to the advantage of cities and their people? The city is not a machine. It is a living thing. You know, great cities grow organically, the result of millions of individual human actions. Each action is influenced by what came before and is in turn influencing what comes next. Vancouver, for example, has a unifying structure of a gridiron of streets, organizing many thousands of privately owned small parcels, with a larger scale grid of transit arterials at even half-mile increments. This form of street and parcel is akin to the structure of veins and cells in the leaf of a tree. This structure allows for the systems of the city, transport, finance, development, culture, to function continuously over the centuries, even as the contents of each building parcel changes again and again. Understanding the city as a living thing helps policymakers and citizens avoid harming the subtle organic functions of the city. Cities as organic systems are not random. Like any life form, they have unique patterns. If you understand the pattern, then you understand the organism. Respect the pattern and you can capitalize on its energy. Vancouver's pattern of transit streets and residential fabric compels a characteristic pattern of shops, services, and movement, and a social focus on the former streetcar arterials of the city, such as Broadway and Commercial Drive. Greek island villages give a second example. Greek island villages have unique patterns that arise naturally from the landscape. Completing the pattern are whitewashed buildings made from local stone, filling every available inch, leaning one building against the next to create an exquisite yet informal composition of great beauty. The interaction of human action and the specifics of site and materials is always discernible in urban patterns. Designers and planners can intelligently capitalize on these patterns if they recognize their importance. You know, the financial and ecological constraints that cities must withstand impel us to use a lighter and more intelligent hand with infrastructure. That means infrastructure that is physically lighter, less concrete, less cost, less environmental impact, and usually more beautiful. South American cities have pioneered this approach. Curitiba, Brazil, with its inexpensive and miraculously efficient rapid bus transit system, and Medellin, Colombia, with its affordable aerial trams serving formerly inaccessible and informal settlements, are 2 of the best examples. In Vancouver, we seem to have forgotten this rule, investing instead in big pipe thinking, pouring all of our transit dollars into one corridor, the Broadway corridor, disrupting its social ecology and starving the rest of our city for transit. Housing can oftentimes cover more than 80% of all urban lands. Thus, in the health of housing districts is the health of the city. Yet as inequality worsens worldwide, housing is increasingly unaffordable. A crisis point of economic inequality, not just in the developed world, but worldwide. It is time to take another look at a model that treats houses as homes, not as mere investments. Vienna, for example, has a 100-year track record of supplying successful non-market housing such that over 50% of that city's residents live in permanently affordable homes. Not only that, but the presence of such a strong non-market housing sector has driven down the price of market housing too. Market homes in Vienna cost less than half the price of the equivalent homes in comparable cities. Vancouver, with 15% of its existing housing stock already non-market, should expand this type of housing, not threaten it. You know, globalization and increasing inequality are eroding job security and the income for many wage earners. The rise of the gig economy, for better or worse, is already changing the face of cities. Informal settlements provide a clue about the future of work and the richness of opportunity that they may allow. The Dharavi district in Mumbai is a good example. This is a place where billions of dollars of economic value are added in the midst of what some call a slum. This district, with 1 million inhabitants and nearly as many commercial and manufacturing enterprises, sits on land only 2/3 the size of Central Park in New York. Yet no building in this self-built zone is higher than 3 stories. Echoes of this type of human entrepreneurial fervor are increasingly evident even in the more formally organized urban areas of the developed world. Even in the US, often hidden in garages or basements or converted loft spaces. We can certainly expect to see, and indeed are already seeing, much more of this kind of job-life connection. For example, it is easy to imagine Vancouver's robust network of rear lanes adapted for this new world of work. These 5 rules provide at least a window into how we might first think about these changes and how we might act to capitalize on them. A better life for our urban citizens is indeed at stake.